Welcome to Technical Tuesday. This is Fed Razak, Senior Trading Strategist here at CMTrading. And today, we're going to discuss the QQQs. But before we start, make sure to like, subscribe, and do share, especially if you find value in this presentation. Okay, so the question is why should you care about the QQQs? And how relevant are they to trading the financial markets today? Okay, so what are the QQQs and what's the background? So I'm going to tell you with a story and a background to this. Okay, so I started trading the financial markets in 1997. And at the time, we had high-flying stocks. Amazon was a high-flying stock. eBay was a high-flying stock. Yahoo was a ridiculously high-flying stock. All these companies were in a complete explosion mode. Okay, some of them have lasted the test of time and have become massive companies like Amazon, and some of them have been just in the wayside, like SDLI, which you probably don't know anything about. However, at the time, it was really a very easy atmosphere to trade the financial markets. Now, the markets did slow down towards the end of 98, the beginning of 99, and then tanked, and we had the bust of the dot-com boom and bust in 2000. But as that happened, we had to look for alternative and more traditional trading techniques to trade the financial markets. And that led us to being exposed to the future markets. We used to trade something like the Dow minis and the NASDAQ minis that correlated to the financial markets that we were trading at the time, specifically the tech stocks. However, they were very limited. And because they were using different exchanges, they were not correlated together, and we had to use different programs to trade them. It became very cumbersome. To make a long story short, in came the QQQs to resolve that. Now, the QQQs are not traded on the NASDAQ or the New York Stock Exchange. They're actually traded on the American Stock Exchange, which is a exchange-traded fund index. Okay, so basically what a QQQ is a exchange-traded fund that is listed on the American Stock Exchange. Okay, so it's a separate exchange that is almost exclusively to ETFs. Now, what's the point of an ETF? So an ETF is basically, specifically the QQQ is 100 of the largest and most traded companies on the NASDAQ. So it's not taking into account the mid-size or the small type of companies. It's looking at the largest companies and the most active companies. So companies like Microsoft and companies like Amazon, and most of the FANG stocks, okay, for that matter. So why is this so important in the current environment that we're in? Well, which stocks are making all-time record highs? Not the mid-size and not the smaller stocks. It's the big conglomerates. It's the big stocks that are making these new highs in this type of environment that we are in right now. Companies like Microsoft making new record highs. And so I want to look to an exchange-traded fund that represents, that reflects those type of stocks most closely, and that's the QQQ. And so as a result, when I'm looking for a benchmark to reflect what the current market activity is doing, I want to look at the exchange that reflects those type of stocks, so specifically Microsoft. And that's why it's just so important in this environment to use it both as a traded fund and to trade it as well, but also to use it as a benchmark vis-a-vis what the market is doing right now. So those are the two major benefits. Number one is that it's technically most correlated to what the market is doing right now. And secondly, since it's not a future contract, there's no expirations. It's much easier to trade. You could swing trade it, you could day trade it. It's a very easy symbol to trade right now. And since the markets are being moved by companies like Microsoft and Amazon in this type of environment, you want to be in the best type of symbol and kind of limit and filter out all the other ones and all the other noise in order to trade this symbol that's going to give you the most correlation to what the market is doing. Thank you for joining me for Technical Tuesdays. We'll see you here next week.